What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another ready list, watch list video. Um, Definitely a day of bad breath. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about a lot of stuff that's kind of market related and quickly go through my list because a lot of the stuff on here, I'll talk about why, but stuff's just building bases and building its actual structures. So I have a lot of names on here that have been leaders, as well as some names that still haven't broken down and look great. So gonna go over those. Um, but I also want to kind of give my little overview of the market. If it looks like I'm reading off something, I wrote stuff down to make it easier for me so I didn't miss out on things. Another day of bad breath. You had over 300 stocks on my universe list down 4% or more today. Um, Throughout my previous videos, I've been focusing, I've been trying hard to focus on the leaders, right? But I feel like 90% of them in the last week or two just haven't been buyable, because they've been short-term extended, well out of their base, well out of the ideal setup, right? That was a few weeks ago. So, if you can't buy those leading stocks, then usually there's not really a whole lot to do, right? It's almost like a sign, these names were well past their points. If you weren't able to get them, whatever. So that's just kind of how I felt like, especially like I'll bring up like an Intel, right? If you're not buying the undercut and rally at the bottom of the range or like the higher low setup, like or maybe on this little pullback, like the last like 3 days, like into the end of last week, like you can't be buying this name up here because you're going to eat a 6% gap down. um so it just makes the same thing with BE. Like BE is another one where it was viable as an undercut and rally. Maybe you bought like a pullback towards the 20 or out the inside day as a follow through, but either way, like, it's going to be more difficult when you're buying these names up here, right? But they are leaders, so continue to keep an eye on them. NBIS is another one where it's like, are you really going to be buying this thing up here? Not, this is not where you want to be buying it. This is where it just made its big move, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, practically 6 days green in a row besides this one red day, even though it was a gap up. So, don't want to be buying these things up here. So just, that's kind of what I've been trying to, talk about, right? Focus on tightness. We don't care about wide and loose, but we still want to continue to keep an eye on these leading names. And when they do offer that low risk tight spot, that's where we want to focus on them. Even if there are two names each day, that on the move that are acting well, this environment, like over the last few days for me, it hasn't been easy. And today really showed that, as far as like a lot of names being down today. Um, your QQQ loses your 10 and 20 day, right? We gap down pretty big, 3%, 2 or 3% gap down, which, not a good sign, right? Today is definitely not a good sign. We'll see. Can we build a higher low off the 50 day and off this just overall area of support? How are we going to act there? Is it going to be a short, so many possible scenarios, but for now, you did lose your 10 and 20. So, and traction on my last few trades has not been working. So, kind of all the signs aligning to continue to size down, reduce trade frequency, things like that, right? My own trades will reflect, what I do moving forward, right? My prior trades haven't been working, and maybe out of like 10 of them, one or two have, right? So, like SpaceX today, which still kind of came back on me a little bit towards the end of the day here, right? Last 2 or 3 hours of the day. So, yeah, it was a good setup. Like, and this type of setup, should take off and stay up there, but it didn't really. So, like, out of all my last, like, I guess you could say like 5, 10 trades, like SpaceX has been like one of the ones that's finally worked. I tried Rocket Lab today, which was working nice. First hour of the day, as you can see, had a super nice push. As an undercut and rally of the prior day's lows. I thought, you look at a weekly chart, it was going to just pull back into the base and push through. Maybe it still can't, but it didn't want to do that. It's below the 50. It's been acting like crap. So, not surprised. You got MU earnings tomorrow, which will be super interesting. CBRS, just everyone's obsessed with this name. This name just reported, and it's down over 10% in the after hours. So, who really cares? There's no real setup on this name. You could say it's an IPO base, but you only know that until it's actually breaking out of it, which will probably be the only interesting time. But we'll see. Maybe it undercuts or rallies the lows. Who knows? Not something I care about. I mean, like, look at this massive downtrend, while the QQQ has been doing what it's been doing. So, not interesting to me. Um, what else? The Kospi got hit pretty hard today, and it's red in the after hours. And I thought Samsung was actually, if I can even pull it up here, I don't know the exact ticker name. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to find it. But Kospi and Koru, another one, just a 35% haircut, or just whatever you want to call it. Not even a haircut, a colonoscopy. Horrible day for your Koru and your Kospi and your Korean stocks and your memory names, right? Your memory names, MU, not the best day today, WGC, yeah, pulled back, held the 10-day, whatever. SanDisk, this is on my list, right? Because if there's any names that are going to be buyable on pullbacks, and not the first day, right? And not the second day, maybe, who knows? But just on a real low risk setup, right? I think SanDisk definitely is continuing to be the name to watch since it still hasn't blown off yet, right? It did have a nice, like, you get your island reversal gap or whatever, your shooting star, and then you get the fall through to the downside today, down 13% today. Pretty big down move. So maybe some more is coming. I think your NQ is up in the after hours, and that's okay. It looks like it's flipping red, so who knows? But your SanDisk, like pulling back in the 20-day, maybe that's where it finds support, even in the short term. Maybe that's an area you got to pivot. That's something I just want to continue to pay attention to. It's the number one king of the market. So if I were to buy any name on a pullback, I'd probably just be looking at a SanDisk. Besides that, I don't really just want to be jumping in front of a falling knife, because if this thing really wants to fall, it'll lose its 20-day, and then it will go down to its 50-day, whatever. Maybe who knows? Right. Another one that looks really bad. Mags, horrible look. Thought this had some potential from Thursday. It could have been a hold of the 200 and build a higher low, but it didn't. And Monday it failed, and then today it just followed through to the downside. Disgusting, right? Your IGV is another one where it just looks like shit. So definitely want to stay far away with these. But I will say, to like software related names, Twilio, it's at the 50 again, inside day. I'm just paying attention to it. It's not on my ready list. Don't think it's something I'm obsessed with, but I want to see if this is a spot where it's going to work. And DOCN, another software leader. You kind of come into that left side low, you undercut it, and you hold up above it just a little bit today. So can this be the low for now? I don't know. You got a reversal candle at a support level, so I wouldn't be surprised. But you also got the 50-day and the prior high, whatever. Just, I don't know if I'd be buying these names out here, but just want to pay attention to them for sure. IWM, it looks awesome, right? It's not even a percent off of a 52-week high. The QQQ is losing its 10-20. This thing is still above its 5-day. It looks great, right? WGMI, one of my favorite ETFs right now. You're still above all the same things like IWM. This is definitely the best looking ETF right now, and I don't think there's anything else that comes close. All the holdings of this, you got Cypher, looks good, which is on the ready list, right? I'm just going to continue watching this thing building out the right side, right? You make a big move up, you pull back once, continue to get tight here, build out, it would look even better. So continue to watch it, right? I think Cypher is one of the few names that's actually at an all-time high. So definitely an important name to continue to keep an eye on. I think it looks great. Iron, right? This one's getting beat up. It pretty much lost his 50-day today. This is just a top holding. Wolf looks awesome. Don't know if this is not at new all-time highs, but another one where you're like literally 3% off of a 52-week high, right? You're right there. It's been strong. Another one above its 5-day. Keel, same thing. Cores, I think Cores Cores is at a new all-time high. This should be on the list as well, right? You're building a nice base, or you're trying to build a base, right? You come into a left side peak, you reject, and you had a gap down that got bought up off the 20-day. Continue to build up the right side would be super interesting. Hive, another one that looks fine. Hut it did make the list because this is another one where you're at all-time highs. I think the ones that are like at all-time highs are super important, but the ones that are at 52-week highs are still acting great. So, you got your Hut, which moves almost 9% per day, 8.5, and it's 14% off of a 52-week high. So if it can set up good enough, it can get to that 52-week new all-time high pretty quickly. It's trying to build a higher low. Like this is the higher low spot for sure. So maybe an inside day tomorrow. Continue to watch Hut for sure. I just want to see how it acts and what it does. But a lot of these names, right? APLD is in there, which is also on the list, right? It's starting to build out under a nice pivot, right? You look at a weekly chart, you can see it's building a consolidation. It's building a base. It's been building higher lows. Can this area be the third higher low, I guess you could say, instead of this little VCP it's trying to build, right? We'll see. An inside day tomorrow will be interesting. Continue to build out the right side would be interesting. It tried to flag, it broke down, but it got it bought up in a big way, right? That's pretty much the moral of the story for a lot of these. NBIS, one of your biggest leaders of the whole market, another neo cloud data center name. Another one where, like I talked about, not be buying it up here, but as it builds out the right side in here would be super interesting. Maybe as a pullback, you got a gap here, you got a gap here. So definitely a lot of areas to pay attention. I wouldn't be surprised to see this name hold up and just not give anything up while the market gets hammered. And that would be great. And I would just continue to watch this thing for a tight setup. But for now, it's still a little loose. So continue to keep an eye on this. That's pretty much WGMI. The dollar, the QQQ I talked about last 10 and 20 day, right? You're seeing some pressure there. Dollar is absolutely ripping. It broke out of the stage 1 base, right? I talked about this as like your little mini cup with handle that it broke out of the beginning of June, and it kind of been trending for a few days, and then it pulled back into its 20-day, found support, and then you had what was that, last Wednesday or the Wednesday after that short week, or before that short week, sorry, a massive move, and it just followed through, and inside day, another follow through, right? Super strong. Continue to watch this. Can it be a failed breakout? I don't know. It doesn't look like it so far, right? So that's, we'll see if that can come. But I mean, we got to just look at what we got now, and we got a super strong trending dollar and a market losing its 10 and 20 days. So got to be realistic. I will say NDTH, right? Your NASDAQ stocks above the 200 day had a massive move today. Super interesting. I don't know why I just randomly saw this. That stood out to me. XBI, super big standout group. Right. These biotech names are dominating my relative strength scanner. Doesn't mean I'm going to be buying them. I do own GH, and this is also on the list. Don't know if this is technically biotech, but it is your genomics health technology. You got a nice flat base. Could consider this maybe a high type flag, maybe pretty close, but nice flat pivot to work with here. Just want to see a push out of that. I do own this name, and I think it continues to look great. So you can see this obvious tight setup. It's building higher lows into the pivot. Looks great, right? So XBI looks awesome. XLF, right? This name has been acting great, and you've had a lot of names in this financials group act really nice, especially today, right? JP Morgan looks awesome, and it showed some nice relative strength. Bank of America showed some nice relative. Goldman Sachs, right? Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, right? Pretty much all at new 52-week highs. There's a lot of strength, especially relative strength in this financial sector, which is nice to see. So you're seeing money rotate in certain areas. Not my favorite areas, who knows, but markets maybe just in for a few weeks of digestion, whatever, who knows, but just continue to keep an eye on relative strength and the leaders is the most important thing. Now I'll go quickly through my list. AMD, you come up to the left side peak, you kind of get choppy, wide and loose. You start to try to get tight here, but you got a gap, you got the 20-day, continue to build out the right side, super interesting. APLD I talked about, continue to build out the right side. ARM, maybe a name to be buying and watching for a pullback as a higher low, right? You got a gap here. I'm definitely paying attention to that. It's coming right into the 20-day. Probably going to be a gap down tomorrow. So a name that will be super interesting as a washout into a support gap would definitely be interesting, right? You got a nice flat pivot to work with. Can we build a higher low, come back into here, build a base? Who knows? Super interesting. Big leader, semiconductors. Let's see if we can build a higher low. Cypher, same thing, right? You got a nice right side of the base that you just need to just continue to build out, and it will look awesome. CrowdStrike, beautiful relative strength today. The cybersecurity group, and I can go through these, but I don't want to make this video 10 hours long. CrowdStrike looks awesome. Right above today's highs, and I'm 100% going to be trying this name again, whether it's most likely a 3% to a 5% position at most, and we'll see from there. These names have started to get going off the open, especially yesterday, and then they just do nothing. And then today comes to the 20-day, nice support. It's building a nice range here, so it just needs to push out above today's highs and then get out above this like June 12th pivot area of like $700 pretty much. Like, I guess you could say like $702, right? Just get out of there, push out of this, and I think it looks great, right? You have RBRK, Rubrik already pushing out, Palo Alto leading and acting fine. So you got some names in the group still acting phenomenal. You just need crowd to go. Dell looks good, super nice day to day. You get the gap down, it immediately gets bought up. You're seeing this in a lot of the leader names. So especially NBIS, like identical candles, and a lot of the right, like Cypher looks the same. What else is on here? Hut looks pretty much the same, right? You get the gap down and then the reversal immediately. So CrowdStrike looks great. Dell, like I said, just maybe a few days of just building out here. An inside day tomorrow will be interesting. Can this be a higher low here? Would be super interesting. It's still almost 7 ATRs for its 50, but it's a leading name. Continue to keep an eye on it. FTNT, high type flag for sure building here. Super nice day today, right? Above today's high would be super interesting, but really I just want to see this thing get going above like $150. Breaking out of this high type flag would be super interesting. Your cybersecurity name, one of the top leading groups for sure. This thing is literally 1% off a 52-week high. Palo Alto could be an argument for that second name, right? Because it's 4% off the 52, but FTNT is right there, man. It is the leader. So nice, perfect high type flag. This looks identical to all the model stocks of a high type flag I've seen and studied myself. So just a breakout would be super interesting of the top of the range. GH talked about, nice flat base. HPE, right? This is going to be identical to your Dell as far as like your computer processors. And I think this looks fine, right? You had a big earnings gap up. You got way too ahead of yourself. You needed the pullback. You're getting some tight digestion. Inside day tomorrow would be great for a higher low, right? You did hold the 20 in a nice way. And another one that's above its 5-day, it's above its 10-day, it's 20-day, right? It's showing relative strength, especially today. The weekly chart looks good. It's building a flag. So I like this nice little flat base it's building, this little mini mini like cheat setup almost, right? Because you're below highs. So super nice. Continue to build out. Maybe the inside day tomorrow will be super interesting. Hut, I talked about this one. Inside day tomorrow will be interesting. This looks like could be a higher low spot. So continue to pay attention to this. Marvell, another name that reminds me of your AMD, where, you know, prior leader, super strong semiconductor, continue to build its base that it's trying to build, and maybe a pullback into the bottom of the range, something like your Intel, where, you know, it's building out that base and then it comes down and it offers an undercut and rally setup, or a buy into support. Definitely areas where you would maybe want to try some, even if it's small size, which it probably should be, because the traction while this thing is pulling back in the rest of your stocks is probably not the best. Marvell, just continue to watch the 20-day and watch that gap, as well as just a whole area of support while it builds its base. MYRG, I forget the name, or I forget the group that this stock's in. I can maybe just pull this up really quick, but you got a really nice flat base building. So I'm just watching this name for a flat base breakout, right? You got Fix in this group, which Fix acted great yesterday, kind of a gap down day to day, but still above his 20. PWRs and this STRL I know has been a beast, and a super nice candle today. So the group's been acting pretty good. What else is in this group? Okay, that's gonna be it. But you know, there's probably more, but I don't need to make this video 10 hours long. MYRG, like I said, just above this flat base breakout, right, which is gonna be like 475 ish, pretty much, right? Yeah, for breakout of 475 would be super interesting. Looks like a nice flat base been building. Had a really nice, you know, this is pretty much a double bottom base, right? You shake out in the bottom of the base, you come right back up. You're getting tight for a few days, so just a push out will be interesting. NBIS I talked about. Okta, right? This name I need to talk about more. I don't mean to make this video so long, but Okta inside day to day, push out above today's highs will be super interesting. You're building a super nice range. You undercut the support gap, rally back through. You held the 20-day. You're also above the 5, 10, and 20. Super nice relative strength today. Inside day, weekly chart looks awesome. Push out above today's highs, and I'm definitely long 100% in this name. So super nice. And a great looking setup, right? I think the cybersecurity names, like the setups, technically, and a lot of these names looks just so good. Like they just get tighter and tighter as each day goes on, and they look awesome. So I just need them to actually start working and not break down and fail. Like DDOG, you could argue it's probably breaking down and possibly failing. I will be watching it if it shows any type of strength in the morning and pushes above its 20-day. Pretty much is today's highs. But to me, it looks like it could easily just break down from here. So continue to watch it. Snow is also sorry, on the list. You build, you had a really nice relative strength day today. You stayed above Thursday's lows. So this could be a spot where if we push out, you just built a higher low. So a super tiny detail as far as a higher low here, but it did hold the 20. It looks good. Weekly looks awesome. You make a big move up, falling volume right into whatever, but just a nice flag and pullback, and it looks good. And you're sitting on your 20-day. So above today's highs would be super interesting as a higher low setup here. SMTC, another really nice base here in your semiconductors, and this one looks like it could be getting ready to go. But I mean, if it doesn't have the rest of the group moving with it, and the market's going down, it's probably not going to work. But just continue to watch this one. It did put a nice reversal candle in here off, pretty much off the 20-day. I will just continue to watch it for just some more build up, but it is building a nice base. Looks good. So above yesterday's highs is something I'm just paying attention to. Don't know if this is a setup I want to take. Rest of the group maybe just needs to continue cooling off for a little bit, but who knows. SanDisk, like I talked about, looks good for just a pullback in anywhere. If you want to buy anything, it's definitely 100% always going to be SanDisk for now until it blows off. Snow, I talked about, looks great. Cores, another one in your group that's at all-time highs. Continue to build out the right side of the base, and I think it looks great. Well, I appreciate you guys all for watching this video. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.